Joining us now, Chris Peterson from Availability Professional Staffing, talking about local hiring trends, finding work, and getting ready for your next gig. Chris, glad you're here. A lot of people glad that you're going to be able to share some of your thoughts on this. Here's the first question for you. A lot of people are out of work, but it sounds like there are a lot of companies looking for people to fill essential jobs. What are some of the hiring trends that you're seeing?
Well, thank you, Walt. It's great to be with you and all your viewers. Yeah, there's a lot going on in and amongst all the bad news. The Central Valley is filled with an agricultural-based economy, so we're finding a lot of positions in the ag industry, and it's not just people working in warehouse and things like that. There's a lot of professional positions that are working and needing people for food processing. There's packaging businesses that need help. All kinds, from manufacturing. Also, another big opportunity has come into the temperature check sites. Not only for manufacturing and food processing, we've been able to repurpose a lot of medical assistants out there to be doing wellness checks and temperature checks for employers that need this safety net, to bring things home for them.
Now, your business, next question for you, Chris. Your business covers a pretty good chunk of the Central Valley. What effects have coronavirus been on the job market in places like Stanislaus and San Joaquin counties?
The effects of this have been enormous. We have seen, many businesses have gone from, having banner years to, a screeching halt, and it's been devastating for them. And they don't have necessarily easy means to keep their doors open or, continue their business. But they're working on the runway they have. They're working with all the tools that are available between, the SBA and the PPP programs. But what employers are doing, like ourselves and a lot of restaurateurs that we know in town, they are looking at creative ways to still get the product to the consumer. And it's pretty interesting to see that happen. Ohana Seafood, a friend of mine, John, is gone from 9,000 a day in sales down to 900, but he repurposed his business to serve individuals instead of the wholesale market into restaurants. So it's been exciting to see some of the good news, but it's a struggle. There's no hiding from that.
Where are you seeing a match, Chris? Would it be a scenario where maybe somebody's working in a restaurant, bartender, waiter, busser, and they're out of work, obviously? Are they going to some of the jobs that we hear about, which would be delivering for a CVS, a Walgreens, a Target, a Walmart?
Yes, we are seeing that, because what's happening is that when you have such a high prevalence of, I would call those customer-facing positions, they have an excellence in customer service and customer care, they are able to, some of them, they're able to repurpose their skill set and bring that home for another employer. There's another avenue that people are using, and again, a lot of people don't realize it, but if you've been furloughed or if you feel like it's going to be a short-term time before you can go back to that, say, restaurant when they reopen, they're going to temp agencies or temporary service agencies like ours and many others, and they're being able to, continue on with some level of employment as well.
Next one coming in, and you touched on this a little bit. Ag, of course, a major employer in our region. Are the companies doing most of the hiring focused on that, or is it a pretty broad spectrum of industries?
It's a broad spectrum. Again, the Central Valley is, I call it an ag-based economy, but there's a lot of support infrastructure. And so companies that are heavily invested, I'll call it, into an agricultural sector, they are needing people and needing good, high talent, top quality people that want to work hard, want to get the job done, are really looking to make that difference. So we're seeing it across the board.
What are you saying going forward? I mean, so many jobs, and we're even learning this here at the TV station. We can do things remotely now. We were kind of forced into learning that about ourselves. What's been the impact on that long-term for job seekers?
That's been one of the most interesting things as well, because what we're all working on, and just like this particular meeting that you and I are having as an interview, it's virtual. So we're having to work on situations where helping employees understand how to work virtually from home and be able to do an interview to where they're making sure that we counsel them to be sure that they're professional during interview. It's no different than if you were sitting across the desk from somebody. You've got to make sure your backdrop is set up right. You have to make sure that you are professionally prepared. You have sure that that employer, if you're interviewing virtually for that, you've got to make sure that, you know, you present yourself in a professional way so that you're the number one person that is picked. Employees that are working from home, we're also getting a great sense with that.
Right.
Employers are much more apt to say, yes, you can work from home. And we're seeing, you know, on probably 75 to 80% of the people we talk to, there's a productivity improvement going on with the work from home with people.
Well, I guess this is what we're all learning on the fly. Chris Peterson, thank you so much. Great tips, good suggestions for people who are in need of employ, and there's a lot of folks in that boat.
This interview involves commercial content. The products and services featured appear as paid advertising.